Welcome back to another episode of Cerebral Pundits. I am your host, Casey Blueford, joined by my co-host, Vita Miller. Vita, how are we doing today?
We're doing great. I mean, hey, we got an intro. We got some upgrades here behind us. I mean, life is good. Thank you for
Uh,
taking care of that.
No, this is definitely a team effort. We are certainly on the path of progression here, trying to just improve every single moment
Yeah.
of the day, every single podcast. Really excited to kind of keep the journey going. We've been doing some research, been doing looking into a bunch of things the last few days, and kind of reinvigorated me at least at the very
Yeah.
least.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like we're re-energized. It's part of the journey,
Yes,
right? It's a roller coaster. And I feel like this is one of those times where the consistency has been there. And I think this has just opened our minds to the opportunities and possibilities of what we can create with this and how we can make it better.
100% agree. 100% agree. So we thank you for joining us. We're looking forward to connecting with you. And if you're beginning your entrepreneur journey or been on your entrepreneur journey, what we're looking to do is bring everybody here to foster a culture of awareness, education, on growth, and doing our best job to make us go from becoming risk adverse to accomplished risk takers. So ultimately, that's our goal here. We like to have fun. We like to stay educated. We like to challenge ourselves, but we want to make sure that we're not just talking. We're actually doing the work as well.
Yeah. And have fun
So
along the way, right? Like,
absolutely. I mean, we're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about so many different things. We're going to blend current events with data and discussion, and maybe
yeah.
sprinkle in a little bit of entertainment as well to kind of keep it fun and juicy here. So.
Yeah, things can get heavy, so we just want to keep it light as well.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, how you been? What's new? What's going on?
Good. I've been down the rabbit hole of looking up everything YouTube. For some of you, that sounds like a nightmare. For me, it's actually been quite fun. So yeah, kind of just listening in on different tactics and then either brainstorming with you or applying some of it. I've got some lists and random things going. So it's been good. How about yourself?
Awesome. Had a pretty chill weekend. A lot of NBA basketball, a lot of playoff basketball. Had movies. I'm still on my movie journey. So
Yes.
this
We
past
see
weekend
together.
was The Accountant 2.
Ooh, okay.
So
How was that?
Sinners. Accountant 2 was pretty good. It was a pretty good movie. The storyline was a little bit not sure want to say slow. I just
Okay.
wish they maybe modified it a little bit, but
Hmm.
so I'm keeping my rankings. So right now I'd say Sinners is number one, and then
Okay.
obviously Accountant 2 would probably be under there.
Okay.
But this weekend, pretty pumped. I'm excited to go see the Thunderbolts, which is a Marvel movie. So I'm pretty
Mm,
stoked to kind of get back
okay.
into that.
I might go see that. I can go see that.
Hey, okay. Now we're
There's,
talking.
there's not so much, but I'm like a Marvel movie. I can be down for that.
Now we're talking. So
Yeah.
before we get up and running, before we start to talk about some of the topics we're going to talk about today, because we are going to kind of really dig into some things.
Yeah.
We appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button, join us, join our community, show support. We're looking to continue to grow and develop this thing, so we appreciate you. That down, let's move forward to our topic of the day. So we're going to talk about adaptability. We're going to talk about adaptation, adaptability, adapting. Um, no other than we're going to kick it off with a story from Chili's.
Ooh.
So, question for you: were you a Chili's person or were you an Applebee's person?
I'm currently a Chili's person. We've been
Okay.
there.
Yeah, yeah,
I think Applebee's maybe here and there, but more Chili's for sure. How about
I
you?
agree. Same. I mean, Applebee's. I think gonna date myself a little bit, but Applebee's used to have this happy hours, like $4 wings back in the day. So as a
Yeah,
broke college kid, like that was the spot.
down for
But
it. Yeah.
Chili's was my go-to though. Chili's was
That's like I don't
for
even
sure
know
my
that we went out a ton. So I'm like, I think when I was younger, like not really either. But especially even in recent times, that's like our go-to spot, even after the kids' games or things like that. It's just,
yeah.
I mean, it's close by, it's consistent.
Absolutely. So the reason we're gonna talk about the story because Chili's is back. Chili's is back, and Chili's is better. So let's talk about it. So in a recent article, this one is actually from CNN Business. It talks about Chili's is actually America's hottest restaurant.
Wow.
So it had a whopping 30% increase quarter over quarter. It is
Wow.
now growing at a extremely fast rate, and it's almost like back from the dead because a couple of years ago was kind of obsolete. It was kind of in the same category as like the TGIFs, the Fridays. I'm sorry, the Applebee's and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
But what's made this interesting is they've done a couple things that are different. So when we start to talk about adaptability and how it kind of correlates to like where we are in our personal journey, let's talk about what Chili's did. So I think what they did was they identified where their menu was. So they cut out I think 17 obsolete items from their menu,
Oh, wow.
and they modified and really went in on the chicken tenders and fries combo. So almost like very fast food esque. And what
Yeah.
they did was they took the price of a Big Mac meal, which is now about $10. So now Chili's offers the same type of meal for
Yeah.
$10.99 as well, which is kind of unheard of in the sit down restaurant space. So I thought this was very interesting.
I think that's something
And
that comes to mind with like when I think of it is like their lunch deals and like what you're talking about. Like you get a burger and I mean it's a decent burger. You know, it's not one of those where you're like, I see why this is $1 or whatever.
Yeah.
Not knocking anything, but sometimes, it's like you know what you're getting. Like you said, you need a cheap meal, you're a college student or whatever, like you know what you're getting, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I do feel like in recent times, I mean, we just had their lunch, I don't know, a month or two ago. And I remember thinking that where I was like, granted, you still have to tip or whatever. But I mean, to get a lunch, like a drink, an app, and a full meal, like the burger and fries, it's not one of those like, oh, you got to pay for the fries on the side. I mean, it's a pretty good deal. You don't see that often anymore.
So their burger, their flagship burger right now is called the Big Smash Burger. And what they did is they pretty much comped it to the Big Mac. So right around the same price, right around the same value, but now you get to sit down and eat it versus you have the different type of feel. So all in all, what Chili's has done is they've taken what they was already somewhat good at, and they kind of streamlined it. So they increased their efficiency with this. So they really honed in and focused on two specific things, whether it's their chicken and fries, and then their three things: chicken and fries, their burger, and then also their triple dipper. So triple dipper is mozzarella bites, chicken wings, chips.
It's like an app, right? Like a combo app.
Yeah, it's like an app.
Okay.
But what happened was it went viral on TikTok. So they invested in marketing in TikTok, and they had people eating their triple dipper, and it blew up.
Interesting. Blew up. How recent was this? Do you know?
This is as recent as just a few months ago.
Okay. So this is current what they've been doing.
Yeah, it's a triple dipper platter. It's right around $20, and the deal went viral on social media, and it got over 16 million views.
Wow.
Right? Think about it. Think about you see all kinds of stuff for cars and movie reviews and vlogging, and a video from Chili's from a customer or marketer, 16 million views.
Wow. That's huge.
And that's pretty much based on mozzarella sticks. And another customer said in the video that talked about it as well, they had $1.4 million views. Sorry, not $1 million. 1.4 million views.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
This is crazy to me. So the company known for baby back ribs, you know what I mean? That same company is now known for higher end fast food type feel. Fast food type prices, but still a sit down feel.
Yes, it's a nice blend.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Because talk about improving efficiency, modifying prices. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I was also curious too. I'm like, are they using these items, one of those like to bring you in where like, hey, we lose money on our burger, but we know once you get in the door, it's decent quality, and odds are you're gonna bring somebody else and like they're also gonna order an app, dessert, a meal, whatever. Like I'm curious because actually I think you're going into Costco, aren't you? Okay, never mind. I'm gonna hold that thought. But
we'll talk about no, not this week. Not this week.
No, okay. I was gonna say, I'm like, because for example, I know Costco does this where like certain items, like think about like the food court where they actually could essentially lose money. And I might be misquoting data, but essentially they have items like we know the chicken or the food court, and it's like how the heck can you still get $1.50 hot dog even though everything else is raised? And if you think about it, I mean, hello, I'm one of those people, but like you walk
Mm-hmm.
in for your $1.50 hot dog as you're walking out with your $300 card, like
Right.
things you needed at Costco. So I was kind of curious too, like, have they done any of that of realizing, hey, even though it might cut into our profit here, overall, this is what people want. And by giving them what they want here, we're able to, as a whole, just do better in general. But no, these
Yeah.
numbers are incredible. And you're right. I think Chile started to kind of, you didn't see or hear it as much for a little bit. And now,
Mm-hmm.
to your point, maybe that's some of it too, is it's going viral. So it's literally everywhere, and you can't help but to see it.
So it says so this is the CEO speaking. He said, "What's the first thing someone does when they order a burger? They don't bite the burger. They go and take a French fry out first. So we spent a lot of time making sure that our fries were properly cooked. They added 30
Mm,
seconds of cooking time to make the fries hotter and crispier, but notably changed the seasoning process." Which
interesting.
is so interesting because when you think about the concept of a burger, like that is so
Yeah,
true. They bring you a burger and fries. What is the first thing you
no,
do?
I was gonna grab a
Grab
fry.
the fries. No one really just grabs the burger and starts to go to work. So if you
Yes.
have some of the fries, like,
I
but
find, oh
go
no, go ahead.
ahead.
No, you're good.
No, to your point though earlier, it's very rarely are you just going to go there and buy the burger fries combo. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Most likely you make a dessert. You might upcharge your drink. You might
Yeah.
might do something
I feel like
of that
that's
sort.
the
So
other
yeah,
thing, right? The little shaker margaritas. It's like a
absolutely.
$5 or something
I do.
margarita, and it's
Uh,
good. I mean,
absolutely.
same
Yeah.
thing where you're like, where are you gonna go get this? So, like you said, you can very easily start adding on things pretty
Yep. Yep.
quickly.
So I thought that. So another way, let me see. Another way Chile has increased its efficiency as its restaurants by shrinking its menu. CEO said Chile has eliminated about a quarter of the items on the menu.
Wow.
On a busier Friday or Saturday night, if you have a tighter menu, it's much more easier to execute that with a full restaurant than you have something that's really, really complex, which I mean, you've been in
Absolutely.
that restaurant industry, like you would know
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
So
100%. I think it's easier overall, right? Because it's easier for getting the food out and when you have a busy restaurant. But I also think, you got to think of the other aspects of that, which is like training a crew up. If you only
yeah.
have to show them, 10 different things versus 20, how much quicker are they going to be able to learn it? Or what kind of pool does that open up for employees that you can have, or cutting costs for training time? And then like, okay, the product itself, the food, now you're only ordering, say, 50 ingredients and you're using them for all the menu items,
Hmm.
as opposed to we had 120 and there's, always that one item that only goes to one dish that somebody orders once in a blue moon. Well, do we really need to keep ordering that? Or are we better off cutting it and streamlining everything? So yeah, I think there's a lot to that.
Very In and Out esque in the sense of In and Out does specific things: burger fries shakes, burger fries shakes,
Mhm.
right? And it kind of goes to in translation. Sorry, in transitioning to like where we are,
Mhm.
right? So I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. So many different buckets.
Yeah.
So coming into this year, part of my goal was how could I become more efficient at what I do? All right, so cool. I got the podcast right here. Check. Cool. I got the businesses right here. Check.
Mhm.
W-2 job here. Family, check. How could I maximize my time and energy in each different thing to where I don't feel exhausted, tired, to where I can really go in and leverage my entire opportunity in one specific field. So
Yeah.
even the podcast. So we talked about that. Like, okay, let's focus on this niche. Let's focus on this type of quality. Let's focus on this type of genre. And
Yeah.
now we have or are working on a clear cut direction. So, what
Absolutely.
are your thoughts when it comes to adaptation, so to speak, in the space?
Yeah, I think you just gave a really good example of that, because I also think we hear these words of, okay, be adaptable. And it's like, cool, what does that mean? like,
Hmm.
like, how do you
Yeah.
apply this? And I think it's a constant. I don't think this is something that you do once and you're set. Like to
Yeah.
that point, Chili's has been around for years and they had to, I'm sure on numerous occasions, look at the ebbs and flows and what's popular and what can we accommodate and stay afloat and what can we not. And sometimes I'm sure there's times where you're looking at it going, ah, shoot, we shouldn't have cut that. Okay, we'll bring it back. And
Hmm.
so I think
We
we're
see that a
doing
lot. Yeah.
the same thing with ourselves and our businesses. And I think it's no different. Like I say this a lot, like as an entrepreneur, you are the business. And so
Yeah.
looking at it in that sense and going, okay, taking inventory of you, taking inventory of your energy. And so it's not always necessarily what we expect in the sense of your business, service, and products and things of that nature, which I think maybe come a little more naturally to people, but also auditing yourself. And like you said, looking at it and going, does this drain me or does this bring me energy? Okay, that's draining me. Well, what if I merged it with something else? Like here we're on a podcast. What if I talk about some businesses on a podcast or use that as my learning time as opposed to trying to force it in somewhere else? Ooh, that took a little less energy. Okay, let's do more of that. Or does something need to, like they omitted items from their menu. Does something need to just be cut altogether in this phase? And I say phase because I do think we go through phases of things where something that maybe doesn't make sense now could later on be ideal and be a priority. And so, yeah, I think it's really important for us to do that and kind of remind ourselves to check in and kind of see, hey, where can we cut some things, but also what can we maybe medley to where it's a little easier and we're not having to, feel like we're doing a bunch of different things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one of the hardest things to do is to be clear, concise, and to evolve, right? Like you have a thought in your head, like you have a goal in mind, and there's nothing that's going to stop you from getting there.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is, okay, taking the data, taking the information, taking the feedback, and being able to adapt and still go after that goal or still achieve that objective. I think that's a very difficult thing to do for a lot of people, myself included. And, situations like these, stories like these show that like in the business space, even companies as large as Chili's and Applebee's and these guys, like if you want to survive, you have to be able to adapt.
Yeah. I think a huge part of that too is if you think about it, when we were saying Chili's has been around for a while, the fact that how they've gone viral. And like when you hear like TikTok, like I feel like me at least, it's one of those like, okay, give me the first words that come when you think of TikTok. And to me, I'm going to be like, oh, it's the kids or something,
Right.
It's not, marketing and Chili's and, that type of thing. And so I think that shows a huge adaptability on their part too, of recognizing, hey, and I'm sure they tested different things, but going, where is our audience at? And who's benefit from this? And not to say everybody needs to go out and make a TikTok now, but I think that's something we talk about too in businesses of like, who is your target audience and where are they at? Where are they going to see you? And in that sense, being open to the change as well of going, hey, maybe we've been just fine with regular ad campaigns or whatever you're working on, but people are watching less TV. Does it make sense for you to still pay for a commercial, or could you do the same or more through another outlet, an Instagram, a TikTok, something different? And so I think also allowing yourself that open mind to be able to expand or at least test something out. And something like this, I'm sure, I don't know what they expected, but I can't imagine they were like, oh, for sure, we're going to have millions and millions of hits. And business translate from it too, because I think the next part is going viral is one thing, but having that conversion into guests is another thing.
So I was always told you got to update your resume, right? It sucks, but it is you can't rest on your laurels. You gotta update your resume and keep it going. So, all right, that down. Let's talk about another topic. We're gonna hit on this briefly because I was gonna show the video a little bit, but I think we're just gonna have a quick conversation on it. I want to talk about timeshares. So, when you mention timeshares, sometimes people cringe, right? Like it's like, ooh, a timeshare, like.
Yes.
But these timeshares, despite a bad reputation, timeshares are making billions of dollars still annually.
Yeah.
So question for you, even with the bad reputation, like, is a timeshare investment a boom or a bust?
I think it depends on the angle you're looking at. To me, this is the same of like, if you're, and I'm gonna compare it to something of like, you could work with somebody and I could think you're a great person, but job-wise, as coworkers, I'm like, oh my God, I cannot work with you. Like, please, we cannot work together. And it can be the reverse too, where I'm like, gosh, we are not going out after this. We're not going to be hanging out for lunch or anything, but holy cow, you crush it at work. You're getting the most sales or whatever, where I'm like, that's who you want. Like, they're killing it. And so I think I say it in that sense of, I do think it has a bit of a negative connotation. I have probably grown up around that of being not the best option or a preferred option. That's just my experience. So I think there could be a level of respect for the business if you're just looking at numbers and, are they doing well? I'm not going to say that they're not, but I just think for me, it comes down to like, is that a business I would want to invest in? Or do I want to be a part of this or tell my friends or family to go do it? And from what I've heard thus far, it's probably not.
Yeah, so I think you answered it exactly how I hoped you would answer. So it all depends on like where you put your value at. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, like, what is valuable to you? So
Yes.
timeshares are very similar to like a car lot. Like they'll get you, and then you drive off the lot. You go to try to resell that car, and then the value is diminished.
I feel like
But
it's
if you
leasing a car.
you said what?
It's like leasing a car.
Yeah, it's
You kind of
well,
got it. Don't.
no,
I guess
because
it's different,
at least you can give back technically.
though. That's true.
Technically, time.
This is one they say you could literally die and still not get out of your timeshare.
No, that's
Like,
so
how
true.
is that something I want to be attached to?
I brought this up because timeshares have been around for years, and even with a bad reputation, they're still making billions of dollars because they too have been started to adapt. So they started to partner with other different type of hotel chains. They started to partner with more of the quote unquote fun hotels or the fun activities. So you'll see the golf simulators, you'll see the water parks now at some of these. You'll see sometimes a skate park. So it kind of just goes to show you that even these companies that we think of that are top of the line, top of the market, like they too are in the business of being adaptable. And that brings it back to me and you in a sense of no matter where we are in our journey, like we have to make sure that we make room for change and that we are open for change. And realizing that change is going to be the only path that's going to continue to keep us pushing forward. Without change, we're going to stay stagnant. And I think as anyone who's on this journey and with us, like I think that's going to be one of the key things is even when you're stuck, some motion or some movement is better than none. And at the end of the day, like regardless of a reputation, regardless of decision, like you got to take some form of action.
Yeah. Well, and I think understanding too, like having that awareness of what it feels like to go through change, the same way, like whatever, you're going to run into times that like you might be sad or something might happen that you get upset and you learn to assess like what size fire is this? Like garage door is broken. Is this the end of the world? No, you take a deep breath, you deal with it. It's okay. And I think change is the same way as sometimes, it may not be ideal, but other times it could be a good change and still feel uncomfortable. You can know it's good for you. You can know this needs to happen and it's a positive, but you could still have emotions that maybe feel what you normally associate with something that's wrong or off. And so I think just even having that awareness that, hey, I'm going to expect that this is coming. And as we go through it, I think it also makes it a little bit easier to get through. It's not like, oh, it's no big deal, but you're like, oh, okay, we're just in this phase right now. I'll be all right. It's fine.
No, love it. Love it. All right. What are your thoughts? Any more timeshare thoughts? You ready to move on to the next one?
I guess I didn't realize how they'd adapted into like some of the features you were mentioning. And I know for some, they really enjoy it. And like, that's why I say this is one opinion, like, and I can respect the business. Cause again, I probably lead with what I do a lot more on how I feel. I care about a lot of things. So it's more like, if I don't believe in it, I have a tough time supporting or selling it. And so that's where I'm like, that's just where I stand. But I can also respect, if you've built a large business, there's something there and recognizing too that, hey, even if you don't agree with certain things, as we're saying, like we have to be, open to recognizing what's working for people. And the reality is people are still buying into this and we are seeing that they're making changes and I can definitely respect that.
No, I completely 100% respect it. And for someone who does own timeshare, who's been trying to sell it for 5 years, I respectfully respect it, but I'm still trying to get out. So
it seems like you got to get lawyers, and even the lawyers.
It's.
Oh no!
I'm almost done paying it off. So we'll see.
Oh man!
All right, that down. Let's talk about something a little bit more fun,
lighter.
So yes, so studies have showed that more and more people are starting to wake up and start their days at 4 a.m. So it's not just for CEOs anymore. So we did a story a little while back on Kobe Bryant's 3:30 workouts, and you read
Yeah.
all these articles on CEOs waking up at 4 a.m. to start their day. And I want to
Yeah.
jumpstart. I want to get ahead of everything.
Yeah.
It's starting to become more and more of a norm. And this next generation, you're starting to see that a little bit more, that they're starting their day a little bit early.
Hmm.
Now, there's a lot of things that kind of go into it, right? It could be, you can sometimes people wake up at 4 a.m. consistently because they are sleep deprived, or
Yeah.
they have to use the bathroom, or they're hungry, there's
The
worry,
point.
there's
It doesn't have to
stress.
be healthy. It could just,
Yeah, right. Right.
not
Like
healthy.
everyone's not waking up at 4 a.m. to work out. So let me just make sure that's very, very clear.
Right.
But my question for you, Avita,
Mm.
are you waking up at 4 a.m. every day?
No. That is not a difficult question. And no, I am not.
Okay, so what
You
do we have to
know.
do? What do we have to do to get you to wake up at 4 a.m. for 1 week?
I mean, I think I would do it. I mean, I can do
Okay.
it. My question
Okay.
would more be like, why am I doing it? And is it
Hmm.
sustainable for me?
Okay. Do
Because
you
quite
feel
honestly,
like can so in your current lifestyle, your current situation, do you feel like waking up early will make you more or less productive?
I feel like I've dabbled when I wake up early, it seems like 6 o'clock is decent. Like I
Okay.
can be productive and maintain, and I feel like I get a lot done. I feel like I have needed to wake up earlier or have woken up earlier for things, but I feel like when I start getting too much earlier, um, now I risk like falling off in the later afternoon, getting
Which is
like
which is
almost like
real.
too tired, and so then it's like,
Mhm.
okay, now if I could factor in a mini nap or like have that as part of the plan to now feel like I've got 2 days in it, maybe, but that's not
Yeah.
always reasonable and you have things. And so then I just end up super tired and it's a little more difficult for me. So I feel
Okay.
like it's almost this balance of like on the bubble of being more productive and getting more done, and then almost like crossing the threshold of like now it's like noon and I'm just like I can't even
you're,
like
you're
I'm
just done.
bleh.
You no, no. I asked you that because I'm a 4 a.m.er, and I have been for a
That's what I
few
was
for
like,
a
I
few
think
years
you
now.
are.
Yeah, I'm a 4 a.m.er, and honestly, like being in a household with little children as well too, like
Mhm.
that is the one time where the house is just quiet,
Mm,
and it's quiet from about 4 to 6 ish,
okay.
and by the time they get up, I'm out the house. So it's one of those times I love a process.
Mhm.
And this is something that I had to adopt a couple years ago is I love the process of waking up. I love the process of starting my day with prayer, starting my day with some form of meditation,
Yeah.
start my day with some stretching because I'm getting a little bit older now. Right. So like I love
Important.
being able to what do you say?
I said it's important. We
Yeah,
don't
I like being able to start my day with those things because I can operate like a checklist sometimes, like in a sense of
Mm.
if I don't do some of those things, I feel like my day's behind from the beginning. I feel like I'm already behind the 8 ball. So
Yeah,
I feel accomplished, I feel accomplished, I feel accomplished, I feel accomplished. That momentum kind of takes me through the rest of the day.
I appreciate that view. I can see
Yeah.
how that works.
But then again, I'm in bed by like 9 o'clock. So
Mm.
like I'm not unless there's like a basketball game, which last couple of days has been killing me.
Oh,
But
there was
aside
a
from
lot
that,
yesterday, so hopefully you didn't watch that.
which one?
I'm trying to think which one we turned it on. It was
Oh,
literally
the
like
Miami Heat and Cleveland. Yeah,
we
I didn't
ended up
watch
switching it because it was like at one point it was like 30
Yeah.
to like 70 something. And it was like, I mean,
No,
not
my
in.
game started at 9 p.m. So the game ended at midnight, and I was like crying because I was sacrificed all the sleep, but still so happy that the team won. Story for another day. But anywho, but yeah, so I like to go to bed early, but I do like to wake up early.
Mm,
And I think the message here is we're kind of joking, talking about it briefly, but the message here is you have to find whatever works best for you.
yes.
So very similar to the previous topics, we talked about the timeshare, right? It's all about
Mhm.
the value that you put in it. Very
Yeah.
similar to Chili's, like they had to figure out like what is their angle. We're still good at we're still good at margaritas. We're still good at ribs. We're still good at chicken tenders. Okay, how can we mesh that? How can we maximize our quote unquote superpower of our company, so to speak? So
Yeah.
in this same type of situation, if 4 a.m. works for you, great. If not, perfectly fine with that too.
Yeah. I think I don't know that I'll ever be a long-term 4 a.m.er, just gonna
Mhm.
be honest. Just because I feel like anytime I've woken up early like that, it's usually, like I said, for a purpose.
Yeah.
Like I had a job that I needed to do it for. I was in cross
Yeah.
country for a little bit and we had to wake up early, but it even still
Oof.
then, it wasn't 4 a.m. So that's why I'm kind of like, I've had to wake up early, and I've had those days where, to your point, I felt really productive, or it was like, holy cow, I feel like I got so much more done than I'd expect. And it's not like you had more time, but you just felt like you had more time. And it's like that momentum got started, got going. But like I said, I think for me too, if I lean towards one or the other, I think I've always been a little closer to like a night owl than
I can see that.
like, I think I've tried to force the early thing, because to your point, it seems like everybody around us, and this is probably our circle. I realized this the other day as I made a comment, and like, note to you, depending on who is in your circle, it's okay to be the weird one. I brought up the point of, I'm sidetracking a little bit here, but I think it applies. I had made a comment to someone about, yeah, I'm glad starting to find a little bit of clarity in my direction, because for a little bit I just was kind of feeling lost, or being told that I'm lost, or whatever. And there was a lot of like, I feel like I should know this, and I'm like, everyone's working on their 1 year, 5 year, and knows what that is. And the girl who's my friend, and she's a yoga teacher, she was like, I don't do that. She's like, the people I'm around, like, nobody's doing that. And it hit me like, this is just who we've put ourselves around. And so it was a friendly reminder of like, oh, that's cool. And also, like, even when you feel like maybe everybody's doing it, and you start getting that, like, I feel like for me, the 4 a.m. starts to feel like I should be waking up.
I should be.
And it's not like and that's why I say, like, what's my purpose? Like, am I actually more productive? Does it actually help me start my day? And I'm like, I think 4 a.m. for me is a little early, because I think honestly, sometimes if I shift that just a little bit, I can sustain it for a lot longer, and I have a lot better quality days.
And that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
So is the challenge to wake up for 4 a.m. for a week?
No, no, not yet, because not yet.
Okay.
All right, that down. Let's move over to another topic.
Okay.
We're going to talk a little pop culture now, so I love to talk about this, but I feel like it is relevant, and it's a good question to have. So, there's a new, singer Marvin Gaye. Gaye also, there's a new biopic coming out, and story kind of go around that Terrence Howard, who turned down the role to play Marvin Gaye in a biopic.
Oh, okay.
So my question for you is, if you were doing a biopic, who would you want to do? Or what biopic are you wanting to do? So what person would you want to do
differently?
Yeah. What would whose life would you want to do a biopic on?
Oh, like I'm playing the role? Oh. I don't know if
not who's playing your life. like you're playing someone else's life. Who would you want to do?
I feel like I'd want like a Reese Witherspoon, or like yeah, maybe something in that realm.
You would want to act. You would want to do her life, like you would want to act and be her.
Oh, I mean, I like the people that have like multiple roles.
Okay.
Like these women that I'm seeing that like they're actresses, but then they're moms, but then they also have a business and they've built it up. I don't know. You put me on the spot. I'm just trying to even think. I'm trying to make sure I even understand the question, to be honest.
Okay, so let me reframe. Let me reframe it. Sorry, I should have worded it a little bit better. You are the actor or actress. And you are acting as a role doing someone else's life.
Yeah.
So I'll kick it off. I'll start. So for me, if I'm acting, I would mind acting in the role of, for me, it would probably be like, I'd be curious to do Will Smith.
Okay.
I think Will Smith would be, obviously I don't look like him by any means, but it'd be interesting to kind of get to know him and in life, because Will's had a lot of adversity. He's had a lot of success as well. And I feel like he's in a new season, especially after all the Chris Rock controversy. He's in a new season now, to where I feel like he's kind of back and kind of rejuvenated as well. Obviously he's a little bit older, so people are like, oh, he's just old. No, I feel like he's kind of found a new lane, and is kind of really walking in it now. So I would love to kind of do that.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I just picked somebody that came at the top of my mind.
Reese is not Reese is honestly we need to
I
do a
think too,
podcast on Reese.
didn't we say too, like she has all these books and like there's
Yeah, so
I like people like that where I'm like you're multifaceted and
yeah.
things that like I don't want to say they're a surprise, but almost just like they have more sides to them than you expect. And I feel like
Yep.
for some reason, like I very much admire that, where like you
Yeah.
think they only know this, and then they come out and they're like, actually, I also just bought this business. And then like
Well,
somebody like that, where you keep digging and you're like even when we were talking about like Ryan Reynolds, and you start to
mhm.
kind of figure out, oh, there
There's
was a
multiple
lot
layers
more
here. There's a
intent
lot of layers here.
behind yeah.
But it goes to show though too, like sometimes like you have to get in. Like for example,
Hmm.
like sometimes you have to get in through one lane, and then once you're in the door, then you can kind of build your own lane.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
and I think that's somewhat of the approach that I think we're both taking collectively, like in this journey,
Mhm.
is let's build this up, let's grow this up, and then at some point, shoot, maybe this podcast takes off, we're doing great things, then I
Yeah.
can go do a whole podcast on pop culture if I wanted to, right? Like you know, in addition to, so like
Good.
that's
I'm
how it starts, though.
Heck, even now we got here, I'm looking and I'm like, I found a random program. To me, it felt random, right? Like it was nothing in
Hmm.
my normal wheelhouse that was on real
Yeah,
estate and being a transaction coordinator, which I was like, I don't even know what the heck that is. And
yeah,
then somehow now I found my way to like meeting you and then starting a podcast. And now I'm actually really excited about this and the social media and different things. But it's like, if I hadn't have tried that, I would have never got here. And so it'll
yep,
be really
very true.
interesting to see a few years down the road, are we talking about anything? Is it the same? Like, it's not going to be the
Let's hope so.
same
Let's,
focus. Or are we gonna, well, no, I think like we'll stay consistent, but we were talking about the other day, there's different people that, to your point, you start with one thing and it just kind of
hmm
naturally evolves to where, I mean, I could see us pivoting slightly, or it might be one of those, hey, we're still podcasting, but oh my God, we started off talking about this and
Now we're talking
now
about something
here we are.
completely
And like I
different.
said, maybe the pop culture takes off more and that's what we do.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just curious to see kind of where that ends up. I think it would be cool.
You know, even with all that, you know what we'll always do though? We'll always be adaptable.
Yes.
Ah, beep, 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 beep. All
Yes.
right. Last question I got for you today. The
Okay.
scoring is viral. So we have to talk about this.
Oh,
Gorilla versus 100 men. Have you seen that going viral?
no.
Okay, it's very viral right now. So let me break it down.
Yeah, okay. I'm not like living under
It's a debate right now. Who would win in a fight to death? A gorilla
or 100.
or 100 men?
Oh my God. I kind of feel like the gorilla, to be honest.
You know what? I can't knock you for it. To me, it's just I said the same thing too, and I don't think there's a wrong answer here.
I don't think so
But
either.
it's one of those 100 men is a lot of people,
That's a lot of people. But I also
right? So
think of like humans now where I'm like, there's going to be a bunch that just scatter or freak out. You're going to
like
have
I'm not
some
like
that
if you
got this.
say you go in waves. Granted,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be wave 1 or 2 because they're
No.
dead. Like they're gone. But
We're
wave
changing.
like 6 or 7, like if they're my size, then we got a problem, right? Gorilla's gonna win.
So
But
like
if
there's
they're
so many factors in this. Like,
yeah, but honestly, it's a fun debate right now.
yeah.
People
I
going
haven't
crazy
seen
over
that.
it.
I feel like
I'm gonna
100
take.
men I think they could take on the gorilla, but I think
I think so.
if you don't have control over the factors of how you've assembled these 100 men and the tactics
Yes.
that are going into it, I feel like in general, it comes into a crowd like, no, people are gonna freak out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That wave one, like I said, if you're going in 10 waves or 5 waves, wave 1 and 2, done.
yeah.
Right, like done.
And I feel like it would be one of those like powerful reminders of nature.
Yeah, it
That's
reminds
why
me of, like
people would be like,
DiCaprio in The Revenant.
yeah.
In The Revenant, like granted he didn't fight a gorilla, he fought a bear, but DiCaprio in The Revenant when that bear just like, so yeah, that's
Yeah.
animals. I ain't messing with animals.
No,
All
that's
right.
like my money's on them.
All right. That said, we appreciate everyone who listens to this, and as we continue to grow and join our network, please again hit that subscribe button. Join us. We want to be a part of these conversations. Do some interviews. I think we actually got an interview next week, which will be fun. Because last time we had this person on, we talked a lot about movies and actually TV shows and
Mhm.
whatnot. That was a fun March Madness episode. So it'll be fun to have her back on. So
Yes.
Before we get out of here, anything else for the people?
No, I think just a reminder, like as we said, this should be fun along the way too. It can be, you can have a lot of ideas or a lot of different input from different areas, and I think this is hopefully a space that you can come to and just feel like you're not alone, and hopefully laugh here and there or learn something, and join us. You don't have
I
to do
know.
it yourself.
I need to get back to bringing my little glass of wine. I'm trying to manifest a sponsor here at some point. I'm trying
Hey,
to I'm trying to manifest a sponsor.
allegedly, what kind of wine would be beneficial for this opportunity?
Oh, you know what? At this moment, we'll take it all.
No, we got to
Any
manifest it specifically.
Okay, okay.
'Cause if we keep saying it, you never know. They
We are
might
going to
bring it on.
manifest Southern spirits. Do
Southern
Southern spirit.
spirits. Okay.
Southern spirits. So we
Well,
are going to
Southern
manifest
spirits, if you're out there, if you
it.
are a rep, if you know a
Yes.
rep, keep
Yes.
in mind, please. We're here to do
Holla,
business.
holla at your boy.
There you go.
All right, talk to you soon.
Uh,
Appreciate you.
absolutely. We'll